Okay, so a lot of people don't realize this, but the Philippines was actually a former colony of the United States of America. Now, the US doesn't have an imperial history like we do in Britain, in the UK, or Spain, for example. But the Philippines was a Spanish colony for 350 years until, I think it was 1898 or 1899. Now, what happened? There was the Battle of Spain in America, in the US. The US won the Battle of Spain in America. And part of it, they collected some of Spain's territories. The Philippines was one of them, and the United States bought the Philippines at the time for $20 million. I think it was $20 million. Okay, so from, let's call it 1898 or 1899 until 1946, right, the Philippines was a colony of the United States. So they got independence on July the 4th, 1946, but because of that almost 50-year US occupation, the Americans provided a lot in terms of schooling, but also in terms of the legal system, English. So a lot of, say, the roads and that what were built were in English. So English ended up becoming an official language of the Philippines, and subsequently it remained an official language. So they had English, Spanish, and eventually they created what we call Filipino, which is a mix of the language of Manila. But English is still the official language. It's still the constitutional language, and it's the language taught in university and college. So degrees are taught in English. And, you know, as I say, I live here. Everything I see, if I go out the house, out of my home, walk on the street, all the signs I will see are in English. Okay, they won't be in Filipino, they'll be in English. So anyway, I thought this was an interesting, fun fact, and it would explain what, because people often say, well, why is the Philippines so Americanized? But that's why, because it has a unique sense of history in terms of being a former United States colony. Okay, so that's why the Philippines is really Americanized, and that's why English was pushed in the Philippines and ended up becoming one of the official language. Okay, so anyway, I know this is kind of random. It's not a typical outsourcing video. I'm not about the VAs or anything, but it's important just to know a little bit about the culture of the people, especially when you're going to be employing and hiring and working with VAs, so you know a little bit of history about the country. So it was a Spanish colony 350 years, then a US colony for almost 50 years until just after the Second World War. Okay, so anyway, I hope this history lesson has helped you and just gave you a little bit more info about the Philippines and the Philippine history. See you on the next video.